Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video to talk about the big news that came out yesterday about which pretty much broke the internet. That Deadpool 3 has been officially announced, but it's not only been just officially announced, it's been announced with Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine. Like I said, he was coming back a couple of years ago and believed he was always coming back. I made a couple videos actually on this a couple of years ago, actually, saying that I believed Hugh was not done as Wolverine. So, didn't surprise me, but honestly, it also did surprise me at the same time. I wasn't surprised, but at the same time, I was surprised because it was kind of badass. It was kind of cool how they just kind of casually announced it. Like, Ryan Reynolds was just kind of like being kind of chill about it. And says, like, I got nothing. And then he's like, but I got one idea. And he's like, and as he says that, Hugh is literally walking. He's literally walking like the other way, going past, the room that he's in, going to go to the upstairs or whatever. And as he's walking there to get to the stairs, he's like, yeah, sure, Ryan. As he's asking, he's like, he says to Hugh, he's like, you want to be in Deadpool 3? You want to play Wolverine one last time? And he's like, yeah, sure, Ryan. And then he just walks upstairs. And then they just kind of pin to the music and stuff like that. Ryan does the eyebrow thing or whatever. It was so cool. And that's really all I think anybody needed to see, in terms of an epic announcement like that. But, oh, no. It gets better. And this is why I didn't make my video yesterday. Because then the next day, earlier that morning, which was today, as of recording this, they do a thing where they basically answer questions. Like, they do a follow-up video, this time with Ryan and Hugh. Like, obviously, this all had to be planned, but I was actually shocked they did the second video. Like, because I did not need to see that at that point, because you're going to go through all the theories and stuff like that because of the big announcement and whatnot. But they did. They did it the next day. They do a follow-up video on both their social medias. They post this video, and they kind of answer. They don't really answer that much, but they answer the simple thing that, Logan does die, but Logan the movie takes place in 2029. And then this movie kind of, is its own thing and whatnot. And then they just kind of cut everything else out. Like, they put music in front of, like, they put music, covering, like, everything that they're saying. So no one knows, like, what they're saying. You can just only really make out their body language. And then you basically say, thank you, Kevin Feige, of them being in the MCU. And they do say that MCU, the movie, I do believe, will start out in the Fox universe, which everyone already theorizes this, the Fox Marvel universe. But then by either the middle or the end, they'll be in the MCU. And I do believe Wolverine, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, will be in the MCU. Now, there will be some, again, there's going to be a lot of things they're going to have to clarify with the Logan movie, because Hugh Jackman's character as Wolverine dies in that movie. For anybody who hasn't seen it, you should have seen it by now already, but he does die in that movie. Now, before this video was posted, I had assumed that, like, what they were going to do was retcon that, and basically, because I believe in Deadpool 2, didn't they have, like, a deleted scene or something of, like, him going to the gravesite or whatever? And I thought, like, that was going to be, like, a way where they could bring back Wolverine with Deadpool's fourth wall breaking abilities or whatever. But obviously they kind of debunked that the next day in this video. So there's a lot of things, obviously a lot of things that have to be retconned, if Logan actually takes place in the MCU now, but I don't think that's the case. Um, I do believe, and again, there's going to be a lot of swirling around on this. Um, there's going to be a lot of swirling around on this, on how they're going about this. Um, is this going to be like something with like Doctor Strange and like what they did with the Spider-Man characters or whatever, where they came back, but then they go back to their own universe by the end of the movie? I don't think that's going to be the case for this, at least for the time being. But I will say this. I do think by the end of Deadpool 3, um, both Hugh and Ryan, or Hugh's character and Ryan's character as Wolverine and Deadpool, will be in the MCU, because then I think like 2 years from now, they do what's it called? They do the Secret Wars, or at least that's what their plan is to do Secret Wars. Um, and it wouldn't make sense, if they're gonna do Secret Wars, they're definitely gonna have Hugh Jackman in that. Ryan Reynolds is definitely going to be in it, but Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool is going to be definitely in it, but they're definitely going to have Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in it. Because how can you do a Secret Wars without him in the movie? You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense. If you're going to have like all these other characters, like they've already established the multiverse with the Spider-Mans, the Peter Parker Spider-Mans, the ones from Sony, besides the one that's in the MCU. So you've already established that there are other characters from other universes of Marvel. You've established that Sony's Spider-Mans from the past are canon to the MCU. They're canon in a different universe. So you've already established that. And with Deadpool being established that his movies, Fox universe movies of Marvel, are canon to the MCU in a different universe, then I don't see why you wouldn't include Hugh Jackman in that. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in that, because obviously Hugh Jackman's Wolverine is synonymous to Marvel as a brand, because Hugh Jackman's Wolverine was basically the face of Marvel before Marvel was a thing. Before Marvel was, let me rephrase that. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine was basically a staple to the movie Marvel universe before the MCU was a thing. Because as we all know, the MCU was not a thing until 2008. Hugh Jackman was already killing it as Wolverine from 1999, or for 2000 when the movie came out, till even when the MCU was going around still. So when the MCU started and then continued. So this guy has been the staple, before there was Tony Stark, before there was Chris Evans. Before there was Chris Evans. Before there was Downey Jr., Robert Downey Jr., before it was those guys, Hugh Jackman was the guy. You know what I'm saying? Hugh Jackman's Wolverine was the guy. All right, that was a staple of Marvel for the cinematic movies for Marvel, even though it wasn't in the MCU. That was the staple. So it makes sense to bring him into the MCU. If you already established it with the Sony characters, why wouldn't you want to do it with the characters that you now acquired in what was successful in Fox? Obviously, you're not going to bring in the dumb shit that wasn't good, like the rebooted 2015 Fantastic Four. Obviously, they're not going to do that shit. They're not going to bring that shit in the universe. Possibly they bring in the original Fantastic Four in the 2005 version, because I thought the 2005 Fantastic Four wasn't that bad of a movie. Okay, I actually liked that movie actually, the 2005 version. But that is going to be kind of difficult when you got Chris Evans, because he played the original Human Torch, and obviously now he's Captain America in the MCU. So that's going to be kind of really confusing. But I think the whole thing, I think it makes sense. It's they'll figure it out. But there's one thing that has to be done. I mean, it isn't a surprise too, because a couple of years ago there was a leak that Disney had offered Hugh Jackman a contract. They didn't say what the character was, but everyone put two and two together. I mean, it has to be Wolverine. They're not going to offer him a contract and him not be Wolverine. I mean, because that's what he's known for. You're not going to just have him start over now, right? That was leaked a couple of years ago. But I will say one thing. One thing has to happen in this movie. Because no matter what this movie does, this movie's going to be great. Like, it's again another situation with like the Spider-Man movie, the recent Spider-Man movie that made over $1 billion. No matter what Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman do as Wolverine and Deadpool in this Deadpool 3 movie, no matter what they do, it's gonna make $1 billion. Like, it's going to make $1 billion. Okay. There's nothing that they can't do in this movie that won't make it $1 billion movie. So when you have a situation like that, there's nothing you can't do. But there is one thing that the audience, I know for a fact, is going to want to see. Despite it, even if they don't do this, it will still make $1 billion. But it needs to be done. And I know Kevin Feige knows what needs to be done. And you all know what I'm about to say that needs to be done in this movie. One thing has to be done in this movie. It's the one thing that Hugh Jackman's Wolverine has never done as the character of Wolverine. And that is to wear the comic book accurate suit of Wolverine. That is the one thing Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, as great as he is as Wolverine, has never done. That is the one thing that needs to be done in this movie. That is the one thing that needs to be done in this movie. And once he puts it on, he needs to have it on for the rest of the film. Period. They got to make a joke about it, like, where he wants to put a suit on, one of his older suits, that he had in the movies. And then Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool, has to make a joke about it and say, hey, no, you can't wear this. You got to wear this suit. And then he shows in the suit, and you got to put this on. That's what he got to do. That has to be done. The movie's going to make $1 billion anyways, no matter what they do. But there's one thing he's never done as the character. That is the one thing he's never done as the character of Wolverine. And he needs to do that. He needs to do that for the fans. The fans need to see him in that damn suit. They need to see him in the suit. All right, and I believe Kevin Feige's going to do it. I believe that was one of the things that he said in the conversation. You are going to wear this suit. We are going to get you a comic book accurate Wolverine suit, and you are going to wear it in this movie. I'm telling you, they're going to. I mean, it probably won't be 100% to what it looks like in the comics, but it's going to look close. It's going to look 98% close to it because, they got to have we got to be realistic because of the way, Hugh Jackman is height-wise. He's taller than the canonized version of Wolverine in the comic books. But they're going to make it work. They're going to figure out a variant to, make it work with the way his, Wolverine is structured. They're going to make it work, and they're going to make it look really good. And that is the one thing that I'm looking forward. That is the one thing I need to see in this movie. Because the movie's going to make $1 billion no matter what. That's a given. They can do anything. But This is the one thing that Fox wouldn't allow Hugh Jackman to do as Wolverine. And now they can do it because Kevin Feige wants to usually Kevin Feige always has the comic book characters 9 times out of 10 wear the accurate comic book suits. So they need to do that. They need to do that here. That needs to happen. It needs to happen. That's the one thing. That's the one thing I'm looking for in this movie. Because they can fight a palm tree and it's going to make $1 billion. But I need to see the comic book accurate suit on Hugh Jackman. That's the one thing he's never done as Wolverine. That's the one thing that is the one thing that all Wolverine fans, Hugh Jackman fans of Wolverine, that's the one thing they want to see. That's the one thing we need to see. You know, I do believe he'll be in a couple of films. I don't know how many films he'll be in. I don't think this will be his only film. You know, I don't think Deadpool 3 is going to be his last Wolverine film. I do not. I think he'll be in Secret Wars because, I mean, how do you not bring him into Secret Wars? I mean, you're going to bring in the Spider-Mans for that, right? How do you not bring in Hugh Jackman for that? Even if it's obviously I'm sure it will be a smaller role because they're going to have a lot of superheroes involved, not just Hugh Jackman. But you got to have him in Secret Wars. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I know one of his dream films was Hulk versus Wolverine. Probably won't happen, but if they can make that work, I would like that too. I doubt they can because of the Universal deal, because Universal has the distributing rights to Hulk, and, if you put Hulk in the title, then, they have to get distributing rights to it or whatever. So they would have to come up with a different name if they decide to do a Hulk versus Wolverine film. And no, that does not count the She-Hulk thing. The She-Hulk TV series is a completely different deal. The MCU has the TV rights to Hulk, but they don't have the distributing rights to the movies. Completely different situation. As a matter of fact, Marvel has the rights to pretty much all the characters from the Hulk franchise. It's just they don't have the movie distributing rights to it. So that's why it would be kind of hard to do a Hulk versus Wolverine movie unless they make it more about Wolverine and they make the title, you have to figure out like a different title. It would have to be a Wolverine Civil War or something like that. You know how they did like Captain America Civil War? It would have to be something like that. Wolverine Wars, Wolverine Fights, or something like that. Because it can't have Hulk in the name or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably the least likely one that will happen though, because of the way everything is structured. I believe he'll be in Secret Wars. That probably will be his last film. Will be Secret Wars. Unless they decide to stick him in something else before Secret Wars. Which money-wise would probably help. Because, I mean, quite frankly, outside of this movie that got announced, so far the slate of Marvel movies for the MCU that have been announced aren't really that good. So, maybe they need to crank out more Hugh Jackman Wolverines. Also, to some of the people that are concerned about, they need a new Wolverine. They need a new Wolverine for the MCU. Dude, you just had a movie where there's 2 Thorks now. You have the regular Thor and you now have the mighty Thor. They can have 2 Wolverines in the MCU, you weirdos. Because I've seen people talk about, they need a new Wolverine for the MCU. How are they going to do that with Hugh Jackman? Dude, they just had 2 Thorks. They just had 2 Thorks in the recent movie. They can do 2 Wolverines. There will be a new Wolverine in the MCU. That doesn't mean they can't have Hugh Jackman. I mean, you just had 3 Spider-Mans in one movie in the MCU. Okay? So, no. you can have Wolverine. I think this is actually better, too. Because, at least from what is being said or has been rumored right now, is that X-Men, they're not planning on doing X-Men anytime soon. I mean, we heard things about they're going to make a Fantastic Four movie, because obviously Fantastic Four really needs to kind of establish its brand because it's the weakest. But all these other like the X-Men stuff. First of all, there's still contracts involved with some of the actors, that were doing the X-Men like projects for Fox. Obviously, they have no plans on using them, so they're just gonna like sit out their contracts or whatever. And that has to expire at some point before they can even focus on X-Men stuff. New X-Men stuff for the MCU. But I think this is good because you can still keep X-Men in the limelight with some of the established and the good characters of X-Men 20th Century Fox universe. You can establish those guys, put them in there, they know they'll sell, and then you can transition into what you want to do with the MCU X-Men's whenever they decide to start doing that. They already planted the seeds, and for some of the characters, I think on the Marvel TV series that they're doing, they're already mentioning, mutants and stuff like that. So they're already kind of planting the seeds for that. But I think it's a better transitional phase where you can bring in the classic guys, classic, people that were successful with the X-Men in Fox, bring them in like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and then transition into what will eventually be the new Wolverine. Because no matter who ends up becoming Wolverine in the MCU, who actually becomes the canonized MCU Wolverine, they're going to have big shoes to fill. There's no way they're going to ever be better than Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. He set the bar so high because he was around during a time when there wasn't really that many superhero movies being made all the time. So, because of that, it's going to be hard for somebody to overshadow someone like him and like become, the guy for Wolverine. So, to me, this is the better way of going about it. Having Hugh Jackman come back as Wolverine and eventually transition into whoever eventually becomes the new Wolverine for the MCU in the future. That's how I think they should do it. And that was what I said, too, a couple of years ago. And I think this is the perfect way to go about it. Get a couple of, box office success with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. And, then move on to whatever you plan on doing with the X-Men, like in the MCU, with those definitive characters. That's how I think they should do it. And so far, that's how they are doing it. So, yeah. So far, it looks good. I'm excited. Let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think? And what do you guys think they're going to do for the Deadpool 3 movie? I'm assuming it's going to be called Deadpool 3, since the previous one was Deadpool 2, and I'm sure Kevin Feige just wants to keep it the way it was in terms of establishment. Because I know they usually decide. I know, like, now a lot of people are trying to get away from, like, the numbers of, movie cards, even for sequels. But I don't think they can do that with Deadpool 3 because they had Deadpool 2 and they called it Deadpool 2. So, to me, I think they have to keep it Deadpool 3 as the title just to keep it consistent. But let me know what you guys think about this. What do you guys think about the news? Are you excited about Hugh Jackman Wolverine? You know I am. Shout out for a comic book accurate suit for Wolverine. I know you guys want to see that. That's the one thing they got to do. 'Cause it's going to be successful no matter what, but we got to see that. We got to see it. And I believe Kevin Feige will give us that because he knows that that's what the fans want to see. And Fox never let us get to see. 20th Century Fox never got to let us see that. And I know that's what Kevin Feige wants us to see that. So I really hope, that's the one thing I really hope we get to see out of this. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate. Make sure to subscribe. Hit that notification bell for all the latest content. That is about it, guys. I am the SS Ultimate Goku, and I'm out of here. Peace. Also, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is SS Ultimate Goku, but also make sure to subscribe to my other social media platforms. Twitch, yes, I do have a Twitch, SS Ultimate Goku, as well as my Instagram, SS Ultimate Goku. And I also do have a Discord server, which this is the link for it, and all the links will be in the description. So make sure to go to that. And, we discussed a lot of fictional media, cartoons, anime, live action, television series, movies, as this video topic was about, and a lot of other good stuff. So yeah, for all those discussions. So make sure to subscribe to all these platforms. Out. Peace.